I have a saying because I have lots of little sayings that I do. And one of them is has the word bold repeated over and over. Be bold, be bold, be bold, be bold. And at the bottom, it says, you have the right to own your boldness. Your life experience has already paid the check.
Welcome to yourbrilliance.com. I'm your host, Amy Waterman. Do you ever wonder sometimes just what you're doing? So, like, you've got your job and you're really, really good at it. But sometimes you get this underlying feeling that maybe you shouldn't get too comfortable because who knows what might happen? Your company might fail, you might accidentally make a mistake, or your boss might decide one day that you're just not needed anymore. There is this underlying fundamental insecurity around our working lives because we can't count on other people valuing us enough to pay us what we're worth or even keep us employed. And sometimes that insecurity can keep inside and you start to wonder, what are you really worth? So what am I really worth? What do I contribute to the world that makes me valuable? Because a lot of other people can do my job better than I can. So, how am I even special in any way? I have definitely struggled in my own life to feel like I'm a person of value and not to see all my many mistakes as failures. And so that is why I am so excited to get the take of a professional coach who helps women with this exact same feeling. Our guest for today, Cosette Coco Leary, supports women from all walks of life to believe in themselves and believe in their dreams and find their fire. She personally has overcome a childhood of doubting herself and feeling like she didn't fit in, from growing up in poverty and abuse to surviving off welfare and raising 4 kids on her own. She is now a motivational speaker and an Amazon bestselling author who has worked in Washington, D.C. in senatorial and congressional offices. And today she is going to share what she knows about believing in your value, no matter what anyone else might say. Welcome, Coco.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Amy. I am so excited to be here with you and your beautiful audience. This is going to be sensational. This is thrilling. I love the intro. Thank you for such a fantastic intro. Thank you for sharing some of your background. This is going to rock. We are here. We are rock stars. Let's go.
So that is perfect. So one of the things that I really regret about our interview today is that we don't have like an entire hour just to talk about your life, because the way you've lived your life is the actual embodiment of what we're talking about today. So could you give us, I know this is going to be hard, but just a really quick overview of the journey that you've been on?
Oh, yeah. That is always such a loaded question. I have to try to find a quick way to get it. So, the journey that I've been on started with my childhood growing up in inner city ghettos in direct poverty with abusive parents, my mother and her husband that she married, and not knowing the value of myself straight out the gate. And then being placed as a ward of the court in orphanages and group homes and foster homes, and trying to be a chameleon to fit in all these different environments, still not knowing my own identity, becoming a teen mom at 14 years old, now having to take care of a child while still don't even know my own identity and having to build a legacy for this child to know her worth and her identity and beget 3 more children and go through life with this whole ordeal of not even knowing who Cosette really is, not knowing where I fit in society because of my socioeconomic situation, not knowing how to break into middle class norms, all of these things, dealing with heartbreak and all kind of things, still trying to find in all of that who is the real me. So within that journey, I went on in life to acquire higher education, serve in a senatorial and congressional office, become an alumna of one of our nation's highest think tanks, Brookings Institution, graduate summa cum laude from my university, become a motivational, transformational public speaker, and a best-selling author, and a professional coach, and have the honor of being your guest today. So again, trying to put it all in a very quick synopsis of a emotional verbal report right there. It's not the easiest thing, but it has been a heck of a journey, and one that has really taught me a lot of having empathy and wanting to be able to connect with other women, especially women, on who they truly are.
So, what I love about that is that you talked about being a chameleon because you're
Yes.
trying to be what everything else says you are, wants you to be. And so many of us start out that way, seeing our worth coming from the outside. So our worth is, especially men, when men give us affection, that's we feel worthy. When a teacher says, great job, we feel worthy. When we get that job, we feel worthy. But what you said was you were looking for the true you, which means you were looking for the core worth inside. And what's really exciting about that is that your worth inside was the same way back when you were a kid, way back when you were a teen mom. Your worth was the same. Even now, motivational speaker, best-selling author, your worth never changed. You didn't somehow get worth. The worth was there all along.
Yes, indeed. Preach it, girl. Come on, take us home. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. That is the main nucleus of the whole thing right there. That's the core. That worth was always there. Always. I'm the same person that I've always been. The difference is I know it now.
Okay, so that's what everybody watching right now, that's what we want, right? Just
Right?
boom, that insight
Yeah,
right here, right now.
absolutely.
So, one of the problems with knowing our worth is that we still look outside and we look at those expectations people have of us. And whether those expectations are high or low, we live up to wherever they are. So, if somebody says you're never going to go anywhere, it's really hard to say, actually, that's your expectation and not mine. And I had a friend in my life, if it were not for her, I would not have had my life. Until I met her, I was going along this path that I had been trained to do from my upbringing, from my culture, from what all the adults said I was supposed to do. And she came in and she said, actually, there's more possibilities. Have you ever thought about this? Have you ever thought about this? And she worked on me for a whole year. I was like, wow, you're right. I could do all this other stuff. So in your life, you had all these expectations and you broke free. How did you manage to see that there was more possible?
Yes, there was a lot of boundaries and obstacles to cross over to find my worth and to also, as I say, live out loud. The aha moment came for me when I was having lunch with a Section 8 eligibility housing self sufficiency worker. Her and I were eating pizza, and she was my go to person for questions. I want to know, how can I become self sufficient? How can I build a better life for me and my children? How can I find who I am? How can I get off of welfare? How can I, how can I? And one day I had started writing a journal. So this particular day that we were out for lunch having pizza, I brought my journal with me. I wanted to share some of my deepest thoughts, my aha visions, my possibilities. I wanted to share them with her because I was very close to her. And so I began to read her a couple of pages from my journal. And when I got down to the last page, the ending of it, and I stopped reading, she said, "Are you going to turn that into a book?" Um, I don't know. I hadn't thought about this. It's just my journal. And what she said to me changed my whole outlook on who I was, what I could do, what I could bring to society. She said to me, "You just read me. I was like, what? She said, everything you just read in those couple of pages, that's me. And it blew my mind because, first of all, this is an educated woman. This is a professional woman. She does not live on welfare. She's got transportation, her own car. She's got a good job with medical benefits, everything. And she just told me that I just read her to her. But I just read me to her. This is my journal. This is me self talking to myself in this journal. But she just said, you just read me. That is when the light bulb went off. And I realized that there was more to me than where I was standing in my own shoes at the time. And the wheels started turning, 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 turning. And I began to look for opportunities, avenues, insights, ideas, and ways that I could take what I felt on the inside and help other women living on the outside in my world. And that's where that came from. Having pizza, reading my journal to her, and having her say that we are so alike. Wow. Mm-mm-mm.
And now you help women understand that their insides are all very similar. And one of the things so many of us have on the inside, whether we are at the top end of the socioeconomic scale or at the bottom, we all struggle with the same thing. And it's imposter syndrome. And you specifically help women with this. Tell us a little bit about what that is.
To me, imposter syndrome in a nutshell is finding your identity through other people's opinion of you. Because the fear factor that comes with imposter syndrome is laden with, am I good enough? Was my delivery good enough? Did they like what I said? Do they appreciate what I do? Am I as good as I hope to be? Or am I failing, sinking in quicksand? And who in the heck am I anyway? Am I just my game face? Am I my stage presence? Do I even know how to really deliver what I'm talking about? Do I even believe what I'm saying? Or am I at the end of the day coming home having a shot of bourbon or a chai tea or something and trying to figure out, am I really the person that I am saying I am? Or am I waiting on the next feedback? Am I waiting on that survey? Oh my God. Am I waiting on this? I want to see what they say. I want to see what they say. I want to see what they say in the survey. Did they like it? Did they got some suggestions? Imposter syndrome is when we don't believe in who we are showing up as in our lives at home, in our public lives, in our business lives, just who we are. We are feeling that we are an imposter in our own world, and we are so afraid somebody's going to figure that out. Mhm.
And it's so hard in the workplace when you may have gone into that workplace believing in yourself, but you end up often in a toxic environment where there's inequality. They don't treat everybody the same. Where they treat women differently, where they look at your skin or they look at your hair or they say, or they hear your accent and they say, hmm. And so then you get all of the microaggressions. You get people saying, well, are you sure that that's right? You get people going over you. You get people doubting you. You get people criticizing you. And so even though you may have started out believing in yourself, believing that you're good at your job, believing that you have something to contribute, you do have all of these people and these structures making you say, stay in your place, and your place is a lot smaller than you actually thought it was. So what in the world can you do? How can you keep that confidence and keep that self-worth when your workplace itself tries to keep you small?
Oh my goodness. This is deep. Excuse me. This is deep because this starts to come up on acceptance. We want to be accepted in our work environment. We want to be able to level up. We want to be seen as innovative, savvy, all these things. But when other people get that promotion, or when we're told that we're just not hitting the mark, or not even just those things, even a little bit more when it comes to it, because we all are told, leave your personal life at the door. Is this not a big one? I just got to hit on it. I'm sorry. I got to hit on it. Leave your personal life at the door. Because when you come in here, it's all about said institution, whatever institution you're working in, right? Well, when we so called miss the mark of not leaving our personal life at the door, we bring that humanness into the environment. That will start to get us with that imposter stuff because automatically we've got to stop, put on our, don on our work environment self and leave all that behind. But do we really do that? I mean, do we wait till we get to the water cooler? Do we wait till we pour that first cup of coffee or tea to just have that moment? We do the most we can to suppress things. This is interesting. This whole thing making me do a lot of thinking, this conversation that we're having, because a lot of people use the word resilient. I've been told so many times, Coco, you are so resilient. And I'm thinking about the water cooler, the coffee cup that we're pouring our first, being resilient. Right there. I'm going to get through all of these things. I'm going to get over the fact that just hypothetically, a name, Yvette got that promotion. I'm going to get over the fact that they told me I had to go and redo that report again. I'm going to get over the fact that looks like my car is needing a tune up. Oh my God, I'm going to get over the fact that I don't know. I just found out my mom or dad has some form of medical problem. I'm going to get over the fact that my kid is tripping out and I've got to deal with stuff. I'm going to get over the fact that maybe my relationship isn't working as great as I feel like it. I'm going to get over. I'm going to be resilient. Okay, I'm going to be resilient, and I'm going to show my best face, put my best foot forward, and I'm going to get through this day. Hopefully, I get through the week. Resilience. Oh my goodness. What does that do with imposter syndrome, right? What is being resilient anyway? I'm going to touch on this because this is something that, like I said, people say all the time, Coco, you're so resilient. Okay, this is my interpretation of the wonderful compliment of being resilient. People say that to you because they want to be, they're genuine. They're trying to tell you something that you're really awesome, you're resilient. But there's a difference between being resilient and being authentically you. And nowadays, people use the word authenticity and being authentic. It's almost a cliche. It's like diversity. The word is just tossed around all over the place. Everybody says it. But let's just really be real about it. Resilience. When you're being resilient, you are finding a way to get through a circumstance that you've been placed in somehow, that you are going to modify your behavior, your thoughts, your actions to be able to fit the expected outcome so that you can make it through what is ever expected of you. You are resilient. But if you're authentic, you look at that and you start to question, and here we go. We love to use this. What is your why? You start to question, why am I dealing with all of this? And how much of my imposter syndrome is having to account for it. So there's a difference between being resilient and being authentically you. Just saying.
Wow. I I think that's so true because it's not enough. One of the real concerns I have is often imposter syndrome is treated like it's something inside us, it's a psychological quirk, it's to us to fix it because it's inside us and it's only about us. But it is not just inside us and only about us. It is also about the disconnect between who we know we are and how we're treated on the outside. And so part of resolving imposter syndrome is not just coaching and psychological, affirmations. Part of resolving imposter syndrome is making sure that workplaces treat all of us with respect and dignity, and what we're owed. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so
We can't
much.
always leave it at the front door. Just saying, okay.
Oh, okay. We are just getting so deep. I have one more huge question that I really want to talk to you about. And you have mentioned this before, so I want to go back to it. One of the real challenges is to believe that you have something worthwhile to say. And it's ironic for me that I talk about this because here, I've got this channel, I've got this amazing brand, and I'm talking all the time. And yet, I look at other people's channels and I think, gosh, they say these super things. I never say anything quite as cool. Or, man, I could watch this person all day. I can only watch a few minutes of myself because, it's just like me. And so I think, really, then why am I even up here talking? Why am I even up here taking people's attention away from their much more important phones and activities of the day and asking them to listen to me when I'm not even sure that I would listen to me if I had a chance? So here is my question to you. How can you believe that what you have is worth speaking out loud and is worth people's attention?
Incredible question. You have to hear your heart. You see, I will come from my edge of the envelope. When I was always looking for someone to co sign the idea that what I said was valuable, to co sign the idea that how I gave a message was good, was great, I had more focus on those people's take on it than on the reality of why it mattered to me in the first place. When we live full out, we are living our life in our skin. And that's when our awareness can really be tapped in for us to celebrate our messages and who we are delivering them, not just because whether or not we are worth being listened to. I think my real question was always, did I feel I was worth saying it in the first place? Yes, my life experiences, my journey, my curiosity, our life experiences, our journey, our curiosities give us the absolute value right then and there. I have a saying because I have lots of little sayings that I do, and one of them is has the word bold repeated over and over. Be bold, be bold, be bold, be bold. And at the bottom, it says, you have the right to own your boldness. Your life experience has already paid the check. Okay. So the value in what we say and how we deliver it is from what we've already lived. The interesting thing is there's somebody on this planet that needs to hear it because they are questioning themselves the same way we are. If we don't give the message, then we won't reach the people that our divine purpose on this planet is for to reach. So the bottom line is we have to know on the inside that we have value in what we say, what we offer, and what we do for the people that need it the most, including ourselves. We need to see, hear, and taste and breathe ourselves doing that.
Wow. So I hope that someone out there watching right now is going to go do that cool thing, start that YouTube channel, send that
Hey,
email, write that letter.
yes.
So, as probably everybody watching can clearly see by now, Coco, you are an incredible motivational speaker and you are an incredible coach. But there is one other thing you do that I cannot close without mentioning. You're also passionate about helping people who are struggling to break free and to have a life of financial security. And one of the ways you're doing that, you hope to get your book, a copy of your book, in every Social Security office throughout the country. Tell us about From Welfare to the White House.
Woohoo, girlfriend. From Welfare to the White House was the very first book I ever wrote. It was published in 2018, and it is the story of what it was like for me being an impoverished woman with big dreams in these United States, and how I had to really take ownership of my life. I had to, because society already was telling me I was poor, that I was undereducated, that I came from a caste system that chances are I'm not going to make it and my kids are going to repeat generational poverty and all of this. And so, from welfare to the White House is a story, my story, of how I went from being that single mom on that welfare check to climbing my own Jacob's ladder, if you will, and knocking down dragons and demons as I was going up that ladder, and getting to serve in a senatorial office as the low income specialist in that office, a niche they had to carve out for me because they never had anybody asked to do that. They were like, no one, people always want windmill technology. They want oil. No one wants low income issues. So did that in a senatorial office and ended up on Capitol Hill in a congressional office in DC, walking those marble halls. And so from welfare to the White House is the story of being impoverished with a dream and finding a way to go and build that dream. One of the things that I talk about in For Welfare to the White House, which I crack up about, is how during those days, those epic impoverished days, I couldn't stand minivan moms. Ah! How can you afford a minivan? I can't stand you taking your kids to soccer practice with your little stupid bags of Capri Sun and orange slices and everything. I want your life. I don't know how to get it. We'll find a way to get it. Find a way, get a minivan, put my kids in soccer practice. Now I'm going to eat the orange slices and the crackers and drink their Capri Sun because it takes a lot of energy to watch your kids practice. But from welfare to the White House, that book is really the story of my journey of owning who I was, claiming the fact that my identity wasn't poverty. My identity was my heartbeat. Claiming that, owning it, finding a way to believe that. And from welfare to the White House also is the name of my enterprise because now that is my business. So it's not only the title of the first book I wrote, it is also the name of my conglomerate, my enterprise, all of that. So it's just a book to help people believe in their dreams. And I do want to say this. When I was on Capitol Hill in DC, because I talk a lot about poverty, being impoverished in that book and having a dream. But when I was on Capitol Hill in DC, the whole way I started even knowing what imposter syndrome was, which I didn't know the name of it at the time, some of the most powerful women in our nation began to talk to me about how they felt about themselves. And a lot of the things they were saying about how they felt about themselves was the same way I felt about being impoverished. And it freaked me out. Freaked me out. Okay. So I went and looked up the word poverty in Webster Dictionary because I was like, I call myself poverty. Even though my name is Cosette, I called my identity was impoverished. It was poverty. But these women are saying the same stuff that I've been, and they're sitting up here wearing St. John suits and got drivers, and they're going to the Supreme Court and all these gorgeous marble buildings, and they feel the same. But how is this? How can poverty be the same echo they're having when they're not? And so I looked up the word poverty, and the definition was so simple, Amy. It said simply having a lack of. It didn't say having a lack of money. It didn't say having a lack of self worth. It didn't say having a lack of resources. It said simply having a lack of, in other words, a lack of anything, then you're impoverished. That let me know right then and there that we were more similar than different, no matter what.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So therefore, I wrote from welfare to the White House, and I named my enterprise From Welfare to the White House. Yeah.
And for those of you watching, would you like your own free copy of Coco's book? Well, if you do, and if you want to work with Coco, because come on, why not? We have a link for you. Just go to yourbrilliance.org/Coco. That's yourbrilliance.org/COCO to get your free copy of Coco's book and to find out how you can work with her. Thank you so much, Coco, for coming on the show.
Yes.
I wondered, do you have any last message you would like to leave our viewers with?
Absolutely, I do. Believe in yourself no matter what. And understand that if there are days that you don't feel that you are hitting the mark, that you are doing what you should be doing, understand your journey is a part of all of that. And be gentle with yourself enough to remember all the steps you took to get to where you are right now, and understand that those steps speak and echo the greatness of your passion, your purpose, and the fact that you are worth every moment of living your dreams. Don't ever forget it. Don't ever forget it. Don't ever forget it. Ever.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone out there, for watching. Now, what was your biggest insight or aha moment while watching this interview? Share them with us if you feel comfortable in the comments. And for more interviews like these, make sure to subscribe to Your Brilliance TV here on YouTube. And then come on over to yourbrilliance.com for more tips and insights on how you can live your most brilliant life. See you next time.